Alright guys, that right there was one of the world's greatest versions of the song Hammer to Fall. You can find that on the 1984 concert on my channel. It's in the top 5, if not top 3 versions on the tour. Hello everyone, this is Gregsynthbootlegs, and tonight's going to be a very, very special night because, excuse me here, because thanks to all of you wonderful subscribers, I have reached my first goal of 1,000 subscribers. That is right, I have exactly 1,003 people subscribe to me and following all the wonderful uploads on the channel, all the wacko comments on the videos, and me writing stupid stuff, you know, just to be funny and everything. But I'd like to personally say thank you guys for, you know, making the channel for what it is, and, you know, just making the channel really fun to listen to and to watch, and pretty much everything. And I was watching all of the subscriber numbers over the past week, and I saw it was like 989, 990. And I'm thinking, just a few more subscribers, I'll reach it. And so every day I was watching, it was going up little by little, like 991, 992, 993, 994, and so on and so forth. And then my friend from California was like, hey, you gotta make, you know, a video, make a question and answer when you reach 1,000 subscribers. I'm like, yeah, sure. So then he decides to go and subscribe on his other accounts to it. So I reached like 999. And I'm like, what are you doing? But you know, it's really fun and everything. So then I saw the number earlier today, and it said 1,000 something, and I got to upload the video tonight. So then I went to work and, you know, blew my voice out, you know, talking to people on the cash register. I work at Walmart, as you can see, and come home with a blown voice, which I've somewhat kind of got back, but you can hear it's all like raspy and everything. And it said 1,003, so why not do the video right now? I had a couple other takes of this earlier from yesterday, the day before, and earlier today, but it wasn't turning out quite the way I wanted, so I decided to try and just wing it right now. And so we're going to go with what's going to go on this take, and so far I was liking what I was seeing, because you can see I was doing some, you know, goofy little lip-syncing dance to the world's best Hammer to Fall, or at least in the top 3 versions. So the main course of this video is a question and answer thing. And if you saw like my my bulletin post about a month ago, I wrote that I was going to do this video, you know, sometime, you know, shortly in the near future, and I wanted you to type all your questions out either on my channel or the or my YouTube inbox mail or my email and everything. And I got a whole bunch of excellent questions, like ranging from simple "what's your favorite song" to like these very detailed, you know, analysis type questions like "why do you think Fred sounded like this?" Awesome questions overall. And you know, I got a few goofy ones, which just makes it better. And so what I'm gonna do is I am going to look off a few sheets of paper. Yes, I copy pasted every single question that was asked to me. So yes, if you wrote a dumb question, it's gonna be answered. So I'm sorry, but you chose to write those questions, so that's what we're gonna do tonight. So we are going to go over here to my couch, and I'm gonna sit there and I am going to answer every single question. So let's go. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, like I said in the other segment, because I had to do a 2-part cut thing right now, because, you know, I couldn't, you know, risk screwing up the computer by moving over there to over here, so I had to do a 2-cut thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this very comfy couch with pillows at my feet, on my legs, and right there. I'm going to lay here and stare right at that webcam with this sheet right here. There are 3 pages in total. That's right. All these questions were on my channel, in my inbox for YouTube, and I decided to answer some questions about the Works Tour debate thing. And for the Works Tour debate, that's going to be up very shortly, but I'm going to help answer some of the questions, and then when we put the debate up, everyone's gonna answer the questions with me. So you're gonna hear like the same questions here, well the 3 or 4 of them, and then on the debate you're gonna hear the same exact questions. So you're gonna hear my interpretation of it. And let's see what we're going to do here. Let's see, making sure everything's okay. Good. Okay. So here we go. Get myself comfy. Okay, first question. This is I can't read this. Forgot my glasses. Hold on, let me get my glasses. Alright. I had to get my glasses on because I couldn't even read this. I forgot to put my glasses on. Alright, first question. I'm going to go in the order I see here. And no, I did not do the same order. Let me get this mouse off my face here. I did not do the same order that I saw, chronologically or anything. I decided to take all the questions and shuffle them around, to make it really fun, because I don't want it to be, predictable or anything. I just want it to be fun and obnoxious, like the channel is. So here's what we're going to do. Let me adjust this. There we go. Hello. Hello, Adam. Alright, here we go. In order. The user, and just to tell you, if I accidentally screw your name up on here, like your username or your real name, I apologize. I'll let you, do whatever, like kick me around or send me hate mail or spam me or put like a virus in my computer, but I'll try my best, okay? Don't hurt me. Don't hate me on this. Okay, starting with user Carbon657. This user asks, Greg, Freddie Mercury never performed any of the songs of The Miracle or the Innuendo albums live. If you had the chance to hear one of the songs from these albums performed live by Freddie Mercury and Queen, which one would you choose? I love that question. Well, actually, it's really hard. It's really hard, to be honest, because after hearing all the songs off the Miracle album and the Innuendo album, yeah, some people don't like certain songs in either album, but for me, since Freddie Mercury is the member I follow out of the 4 members, I pay attention to his performances more than the other 3. But what I would like to say, I would absolutely love to hear him do stuff like I Want It All. I think that would be an amazing opener to either tour, preferably the Miracle tour, because they were promoting that song. But I think that would be an awesome song live to play, and I think Freddie Mercury would do a very good job of performing that song live. And then for Innuendo, let's see, lots of good stuff. Headlong would be wonderful. Fast-paced rocker, energetic, he could get the party starting live, it could be a good opener. And also, Mr. The Biggest Queen fan said to me in the past that if you see Headlong and Now I'm Here together, it'd be an amazing combination. So I agree. So I think those 2 songs would work very well live. I would love to hear those songs performed live by Freddie Mercury and Queen. Alright. Nice question, by the way. Alright. Mr. Queen Rocks 1994. Ooh, we have 2 questions. Let's start with the first one. What song would you have most liked Queen to play live? Let's see here. What song that they never played live, but would like to hear live? Well, I'm gonna go back to the Freddie eras where they were touring from the 70s to the 86 Magic Tour. I would love to see Dead on Time from the Jazz album played live. And sorry, I have to agree with TSS Killer on that. I'm sorry I have to steal his idea about that song, but I think that song would have worked wonders live. It could see replacing maybe something from the Jazz or the Crazy Tour, where I think that song would blossom live, and Freddie would most likely do a very good job performing that song live, because if he tried doing that on the Jazz Tour, we'd hear 10 notes disintegrating into squeaking and squawking and just all that other stuff. But I would like to see Dead on Time played live. Let's see. Second question. Is saying set my alarm, turn on my charm really that difficult for Freddie? No. But I actually, to be honest, I don't know why.
I don't know why he went live. I don't know. Maybe he was worried you'd forget the words, or I don't know. That's one of those things where we'd have to, like, you know, kind of sort of speculate, because I don't know. I don't know why he would switch that line with, you know, just random syllables. Maybe he was, I don't know, maybe he'd forget it. I don't know. But, you know, it's up to, you know, whoever wants to speculate. I think he did that because he was afraid he would forget the words. Alright, good questions. Alright. Ooh, these are very good. Oh, this is an excellent one. Miss Chris's 93. I'm sorry if that sounded wrong, you know, but, you know, if I said the name wrong, I'm sorry. Chris's 93. Greg, if you could go back in time and only had one concert you could attend to, what would it be? Oh, I knew someone was going to ask that. Why do people have to ask that difficult question? What one would you attend? Well, I think, you know, I'll do the easy method and say, oh, I would love to attend a Crazy Tour concert. 12-4 Newcastle would have been wonderful, seeing arguably, you know, the greatest Queen concert by popular opinion, and one of Freddie's best vocal concerts, if not the definitive one. But also, I will also throw you guys for a loop and say that other shows that could be possibly on par with seeing Newcastle live would be stuff like the Leiden '86 shows from the Magic Tour. Any of them. You know, we got the epic crowd doing the football chant and clap and sing along to all the songs. And, you know, the whole Magic Tour big arena stadium setup would be wonderful, even though they didn't do the stadiums at the Lions, they just did the arena. But it still would be awesome to be in that kind of atmosphere with everyone just singing along to the songs. So, to answer the question, Newcastle 79 would probably be my definitive choice, with closely followed by the Leiden '86 concerts, because I would love to see any of those live. Alright. Ooh, this one's interesting. So the second question. If you could have a one-on-one interview with Freddie for 30 minutes, and you could ask him only 5 questions about his vocals or personal life, what would they be? Well, first of all, we have to see if Freddie would like to do the interview first. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't be happy, because, you know, I'd spend all day trying to figure out a question and then realize he doesn't want to do it. But if I was lucky enough to get an interview with Mr. Frederick Losada, I would ask him the following questions. 1. Do you consider yourself a very good singer? 2. Do you like performing for everybody, you know, across the world, back-to-back tours? So do you like doing the whole touring thing around the world? 3. Are you happy with your personal life? Is everything set in order? Do you like how things are going? Are you unhappy? You know? Another question I would ask is if, like, let's say you were, you know, at the end of a tour, and you had to reflect on that tour. Would you do it again? The same exact tour, same exact way? Would you do a repeat? And 5, I would ask him what he thinks is his greatest composition, because he has said that, you know, Somebody Love is his favorite song, but I would like to know what is his favorite composition. Like, what song did he enjoy, you know, creating in the studio the most? What song did he like to, you know, be creative with in the studio? So basically, what song he'd like to work on the most in the studio. I would like to ask those questions to him. Alright, my Bulgarian subscriber, Mr. Marina Stoikov. Did I pronounce that right? I'm sorry if I fucked it up, you know. I am not good at pronouncing stuff. I mean, ask my friend Masif from California. Love is in the air. This is KuroCat. I can't pronounce German to save my life. But okay, let's see these questions. All right. Oh, excuse me a second. Chardonnay. Love it. All right. Let's see. He asks, what is your most favorite Queen song? I'd have to say the song that likes to turn up, you know, high, or possibly number 1 on my favorites, or, you know, the song I like to listen to most is Save Me. off the Game album. I think that is one of Brian May's best compositions he's done ever. I think Freddie sings that song wonderfully. I think the instrumentation is great. The song worked wonders live. It was excellent in the studio. It's an all-around excellent song. And so that's essentially my favorite song, Save Me. What is your most favorite Queen concert? My favorite Queen concert. I'll have to say Newcastle 79. I'm sorry, if that's the stereotypical, oh, why did he have to say that? Everyone else says it, Well, I have to say Newcastle, second night, because it's overall excellent. Everybody's in tip-top shape pretty much. The crowd is great. There's really, other than the minor faults you can find at a concert, someone accidentally hits a wrong note or Freddie hits a note wrong or something. Other than, those little things, it's essentially a perfect concert. And that is one of the bootlegs I will throw in someone's face if, one, to prove that Freddie can sing his songs live, two, to introduce someone to Queen's live career, because that gig is on the top of pretty much everything, and three, I listen to that concert every day. I do not get tired of anything I hear on that show. Alright, third question Mr. Barron asks, which Queen concert would you like to be released next? The concert I would like to see released officially would be Hammersmith. Let's see, what do you say, 75, 79, which one? I'll have to say Hammersmith 79, because this is a show that most people have talked about all over the internet. Queen Zone, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. People want to see this released, and they can release it. They have the video. That video was shown at conventions back in the 80s, incomplete. They have, I believe, the full sound in the archives. There's, I've read stuff, how the multi-tracks got stolen, and there was only like a stereo master or something. But Mr. Gary Taylor, the archivist, a wonderful man I may add, said that the tracks are there and they can actually release this. And he said that this would actually look the best on like a Blu-ray system. So it would be wonderful to have Hammersmith 79 because we're used to the 80s live Queen stuff, Montreal, Live at the Bull, Wembley. It'd be nice to have 79 right at Queen's peak in terms of the whole music vocal thing, and it'd be just a nice release. Hardcore fans would love it, and it would put new fans in, Awesome. Hammersmith 79 is my choice. Alright. Excellent questions. Alright. Mr. B. Jizzy 17. Oh, sorry. B. Sizzy. Sorry, I confused the alphabet a bit. Okay, Mr. B. Sizzy 17, a.k.a. Mr. Brian Sangster from Worcester, Mass. He says, what are the best Queen bootlegs to go for in terms of the sound quality and the performance? Well, for sound quality, I can recommend the Golder Screen Hippodrome 73 show. That has pretty much excellent quality. The only flaw is Freddie's vocal is buried a bit in the mix, so it's pretty much predominantly guitar driven. But that's excellent quality besides that. The Rainbow gig from March is excellent. Boston 76, excellent. I'd recommend that show to anybody, even who's not a Queen fan. Some jazz tour shows like Montreal and Chicago and the second New York and Vancouver are also very good quality. Those I would recommend. Hammersmith 79, the bootleg of that's good quality. Some stuff from 80. Let's see, Oakland is pretty good. The Wembley show 12/8 is also excellent quality. Frankfurt is good quality, but watch out for the horrible backing singer that sounds like he's hitting 10 notes with rocks in his throat. And it was from 81. I believe the first Sao Paulo has good quality. The second one, avoid in terms of the quality, because those are ear tumors, and I tried listening to a song and I had to get prosthetic ears because the sound is bad. In 82, the Edinburgh's good quality. Vienna's good quality. Mannheim 86, probably one of the best, if not the best, Queen recordings in terms of the quality out there. Osaka 85 is also up there. Some of the Birminghams and the London ones from 84 are top quality, but watch out for the vocal performances. And also a few odd ones in there. Vienna 84, but again, don't listen to the vocals or you'll end up crying. Stuttgart, wonderful. Sun City is from the soundboard, awesome. Not Japan 75. Actually, there's some good ones in there, like 5-1. But Japan 85, aside from Osaka, like 5-9 is good. And then from the Magic Tour, like I said, Mannheim, First, Leiden, and Stockholm are also good quality. And Manchester and the Viennas are also top notch. So I pretty much just rattle off just random shows that have, very good, excellent quality. And then for the performances, best Queen bootlegs for that. Well, if you're a fan of the early shows, like the first few years, both Rainbow shows are great performances. Japan 75s are excellent too. Musically, they're wonderful. You will love the crowd along with those. Boston 76, everyone's on all cylinders, excellent. Some News of the World shows, like the New York ones, Stockholm and Copenhagen, I would recommend. Those are awesome performances. Vienna 78 is also a mention. Jazz Tour, yes, I know Freddie's voice is blown on like 99.9% of the shows, but the performances in terms of the music are overall very, very excellent. Crazy Tour, any show. I mean, watch out, Glasgow's got the bad quality, but the show is great. Pretty much a good majority of the 80 to 82 ones I would recommend for a good performance. 84, Brussels, the Birmingham, Stuttgart, Sun City, great musical performances. Japan 85 and Rock and Rios are also up there. Leiden 86, Mannheim, Brussels, essentially early Magic Tour, and then a few scattered ones such as like the first Wembley one is very underrated. We have high quality audio and video of that, and I believe it was recently officially released. So pick that up when you have the chance. So those are just a list of just excellent performances. All right. Let's see. Excellent question. All right. My English, excuse me. Mountain Dew. Love it. All right. My favorite English subscriber, Mr. formulaonemad, a.k.a. Adam Wed. Hello, Adam. He's got a couple questions for me. Let's see. Who is the best subscriber? Do I have to dig through all 1,000 of my subscribers to pick the best one? All of them are good. See, all of them are good. I do not rate any of my subscribers bad. I've grown close to a few of them personally. I'll talk to them, in an email or something. But pretty much, I don't rate the subscribers as best, worst. But there's a handful of subscribers I've grown pretty close to, either in real life or talk to me a lot, and you guys know who you are. Let's see. Second question: Freddie's mustache or Elton's wig? Well, Freddie's mustache is more smooth and more sexy looking, but Elton's wig is more flamboyant and Tina Turner-ish. I'd tie them. They're both excellent. Third question: is it true you are a synth? Yes, I am an analog synthesizer. I go out of tune all the time. As you can see, I'm accidentally hitting flat and sharp notes when I'm talking. And I can't sing to save my life, and to stay on pitch with that is bad. You can tell TSS Killer 08 about that, because he's caught me singing wrong notes on the outtakes for the Flack parody. But yes, I'm a synthesizer, as you can see in my name, Gregsynthbootlegs, and all the 500 names I have. So yes, I'm a synth. Alright. Ooh, let's see. I'm trying to figure out what this username, the biggest... Alright, the biggest Queen fan. Where have I heard that name before? Oh, he's got a whole shitload of questions for me. What is the best crazy little thing called love, in your opinion? And how do you judge these performances live? Well, for me, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. With the exception of like a few versions, I have never really heard a weak or a bad version live. It's, for me, like I've said on like the debates, it's your choice. Pick your favorites, because I cannot judge how the good this song is, because it's good on pretty much all the nights, with the exception of like 3 or 4 of them. But I will say that my favorites are, I actually love the Tokorozawa one. Sorry, Tokorozawa one from '82. Yes, 11-3 with Freddie squealing and metal screwing, multiple notes at the same time. That is a very, very excellent performance of the song. Excellent musical performance. Fred Mandel is an awesome keyboardist. I would recommend you listen to some of his work on the back chats from the later end of that tour, and his Elton John stuff. Wonderful. But Tokorozawa ranks highly for me. I love the Live Aid one. Let me fix this. I love the Live Aid one. Some Magic Tour ones I like, like Mannheim and Brussels 84, some of my favorite ones where he just oversings the shit out of the song. Kassel, Hamburg are also ones I always listen to because I just like how Freddie interprets the song. But I will say that the closest thing I can tell you to the best ones would be when they do that more of that extended jam from the early 80s onward, like 82 onwards. I just love the jam. It's very creative. I love how they extend it, over a couple of minutes, and Fred Mandel, does, the piano work and stuff on the 82 ones, and then you have Spike Edney, banging away at the keys on the other ones. So, I'd say 82 onwards will have most of the best ones because you have the jam. Let's see. Okay, Best Crazy Thing did that. How do you judge the performances? I just judge, if it sounds good. If Freddie sounds good, if I like the jam, but, it's mostly a preference thing, because it's, about 98% of the versions I've heard are bad. Oh, fail on my part. 98% of them are good. 2% of them are bad, and the ones that are bad are like 9/8/84 and Zurich Second Night on the Hot Space Tour. Those are like the 2 that come to mind. Everything else is fine. Let's see. Another question. Greg, do you have a hot sister? Is this true? Next question. Is your sister hot? Why do you ask these questions? Alright. The only time my sister is hot when she is standing by the fireplace or by a bonfire, because what happens if you stand by that, you get up to like 100 degrees or so, and, people get hot by the bonfire. So yes, the only time she's hot is if she's by a fire. Does that answer your question? Let's see. Do you love my sister jokes? Do I love your sister jokes? Alright, the biggest queer fan. Oh, I'm sorry, queen fan. I confused the alphabet a bit. Alright, do I love your sister jokes? Yes, I do. I find them very entertaining, and I'm amused by 98.9999% of it. There's a couple of them I don't like, but, I like them anyway, so, well, I like them. Let's see. Horse Racing Kid. Alright, the best horse racing handicapper dude ever, who is the top horse video dude on YouTube. Let's see. He has the question, what is the difference between a vagina and a cunt? And how are they the same? The difference between a vagina and a cunt is vagina has 6 letters, cunt has 4 letters in it. That is the difference. And plus, vagina has 3 syllables, vagina. Cunt has 1 syllable, cunt. How are they the same? Well, if you type in either of those words and click on Google Images and search, you'll find the images are very much similar. So, yes, they are the same. Also, if you look in the dictionary, like a slang dictionary or like an urban dictionary on the internet, you'll get the same meaning for both. So, love that question. We're on page 2. Oh my god, it is the legendary Gunners Original 2010, aka the legendary Sephiroth. Chardonnay and Mountain Dew are wonderful. Gunners Original Sephiroth. God, I love this guy. I want him on a freaking debate. But no, he doesn't show up. But still, you gotta join in a debate. We'd love your views. We'd love your comments and everything. Gotta get more comfy here. Alright. Oh, he's got a few good... Actually, all of them are good. Let's see. Overall, what would you say is the worst Queen concert ever with Freddie on the lead vocals? I have to say that the worst Freddie's ever sung live and his worst vocal concert is 5/1/79, which is the second Fukuoka. A lot of people are saying stuff like, 425 is worse, 423. No. At least at 425, Freddie's tone isn't completely shot. And he's at least trying to, make these interpretations where he's trying to sing effectively in the third octave and trying to go upwards, embellish. So I can't say 425 is his worst. It's in the top 20 worst, but not the worst. But 5/1, what makes it so fail is Freddie's tone is totally shot. It's almost monotone. Freddie makes wrong note choices on pretty much every song I've heard. Yeah, B2s on Somebody to Love. Random third octave dropping garbage on like 85% of the songs. Get Down, No Tone is like the worst version ever. You have the worst version ever, Somebody to Love. Worst version of Champions, where Fred doesn't even sing like half the song. And like just drops randomly and cracks and airs like 3 notes. Sheer Heart Attack, which is arguably like a top 5 or top 10 worst Freddie vocal ever. Where you have him like, singing off key throughout the whole part of the first song and then going sheer, like a friggin' siren dying in the middle of the road. So yeah, 5/1 just full of fail. Avoid that at all costs unless you want a good laugh. You can tell Mr. Inu-liger about that because on every performance of that concert he says the following: "That doesn't count as a performance," and I agree. Well, vocally, I mean musically it's good overall, but vocally, All right, next question that Mr. Gunner's Original asks. How do you think Freddie would have handled Gimme the Prize if it was performed on the Magic Tour? Good question. Well, what I can say is his technique did improve over, the last few years where, Freddie would, phrase songs more correct, make better note choices. His belting got a lot better. His tone improved from the worst tour. My God, it sounds like, Pavarotti baritonal garbage with cigarettes in his throat. So, Live 8 onwards, you pretty much have Freddie, performing very, very excellent overall. How would he handle Gimme the Prize? I think he would make a decent attempt at nailing some B4s, at least on the early part of the tour. And then the other ones, he would probably have Roger double up and hit, the B4s and the C sharps. And I think Freddie would, harmonize with an F sharp, F sharps, and maybe, probably attempt to go up and hit like a random B, maybe. But all I can say is that, I think the song would work live, vocally, but a part of me would say that it wouldn't work in a certain way because it's kind of like complex on the studio where you got the vocal harmonies everywhere, then the complex, sounds from like the, from Highlander and Kurgan's voiceover. So I think in a way it would work, a way it wouldn't work. I would just have to see. But I would like to see that performed live, actually, regardless. Next question from Mr. Sephiroth. What do you think was Freddie's best ever live vocal performance? Name one song to make it a bit more tricky. Alright, make it tricky, huh? I'd have to say Live Aid's Radio Gaga is his truly best live vocal because Freddie sounds awesome. He nails the entire thing just like the studio. If you play it back to back, Freddie hits the same exact notes, hits the chorus notes correctly, doesn't yelp or shout A4s everywhere, doesn't sound like he's got cigarettes burning the inside of his throat like the Works tour. all around excellent vocal, and you know there's nothing wrong with that vocal. Essentially, it's awesome. That's all I can say. And then, plus you have the stadium, doing the all we hear is Radio Gaga, chant and everything. So, I think Radio Gaga is probably his best live vocal, if not at least top 10. No, no joke, guaranteed to be up there. All right. So Radio Gaga from Live Aid. Let's see. Last question from Mr. Sephiroth. Why do you think Freddie's vocal tone changed so much from, say, the Miracle early into one of sessions 89 to the final versions on the album? Well, what I can tell you is why Freddie's voice changed and sounded different in the last couple years of his life. He cut back on smoking, which in turn, kind of lightened his vocal up a bit. And I know smoking didn't really affect his voice as much as what people say, but it did. It mostly affected like his stamina in terms of like the live performances and his like recovery between shows. Like in the early part of the 80s, he would be consistent throughout the tour, and then 84 he'd be up and down like a roller coaster, sound great at like Stuttgart and then sound like shit at the Viennas. I think the smoking messed his stamina and recovery time between gigs up. But I think the cutting off the smoking kind of sort of restored the lighter kind of tone to his voice, like the 70s a bit. Also, but what I think what truly caused the difference in his tone, it was, I know it's ironic, AIDS. Because what happened was it was taking his chest power, his belting power away, because if you compare like his Magic voice, like from 86, the Time stuff, In My Defense, and then the Barcelona stuff where he's kind of got that really strong chest belting kind of a voice. Then you compare it to like Miracle, where it's like his chest belts aren't nearly as powerful, and he's starting to use more of a mixed or a head tone. I believe that the AIDS was restricting his chest voice power, and Montserrat Caballé, I think that's how you pronounce it, she helped Freddie with his technique, how to sing in head voice and mixed voice, better. So I think he compensated by singing more of a head tone on the Miracle, and especially Innuendo, because on that he doesn't have the belting and chest power that he had even, like 2-3 years previous. So I think so mostly the vocal tone changed because the AIDS, the whole bronchial pneumonia thing and the whole weakening of him was like restricting his diaphragm and kind of a thing, so it was like restricting his power. I think that's what it was. I could be wrong, but I'm just going off what I've been hearing like from the vocals and everything. All right. And wonderful questions. All right. The Agris 25 asks 3 questions. Greg, what is the best live version of Another One Bites the Dust? What I can say is none of them from the Works tour are going on there. Most of them sound bad. Freddie can't hit the notes right, and those horrible drums ruin it. There's some good Hot Space ones I would put up there, like the first Vienna where Freddie touches a D5 in the first chorus. There's a lot of good Game Tour versions, Providence, New York, the first one. Some of them from the later 80 leg, like the Brussels are probably the best overall in the early 80s, like 80. A lot of good 81 ones, especially Monterey, Puebla, and the Montreal. But I'll have to say that the overall best versions are the Magic Tour ones, especially the ones later in the tour, like Mannheim onwards, because there you have awesome improvs musically with the crowd, the sing-along, and despite Freddie not being in the best shape on some of them, he is actually hitting the notes more correct in 86 than he did earlier. Every gig he hits B4s, even Zurich, Marbella, Wembley. He is actually hitting B4s better there than he did at, let's say, 80 or 81 on some of the gigs. And so the best ones, I think, overall, the first Vienna is wonderful. That's one of my favorites. Freyhus. I'm sorry, wait, that's the American one. Ray Taylor, help me on the pronunciation. What is it? Frejus, I think that's how you pronounce it. That one is awesome because Freddie nails most of the B4s like the record. He also hits the standing on my own 2 feet high note, which is the only time he actually hit that properly, because he attempts it on a couple of the 80 ones, but he either overshoots it or he cracks backwards on the New York one. But that one's awesome. Nebworth is awesome. Do the whole fun it musical improv. Mannheim is wonderful. But what I can say is it's going to be tough to decide best dust. But it's either going to be probably either the Brussels 80 would be up there, Montreal 81, the first Vienna for 82, and then a handful of Magic Tour ones could possibly get up there for being the best one. But that's all for debate. But I'm just narrowing it down to make it easier for me. What are your top 5 favorite Queen concerts? Very tough. Very tough. But I have to say that the Newcastle second night is one of my favorites. The Leiden gigs from '86, I think the second one is one of my favorites. Oakland 80 is up there. I love Kassel and Hamburg from the Hot Space tour. I love Stockholm and Copenhagen. It's really tough. You know, I plan on making a video sometime in the near future about my top 30 favorite concerts, but it's going to change pretty much every day. But what I can guarantee you is that Newcastle 79 and the Leiden one, and then the other 3, and then I'll decide the other 3. But those 2 will definitely be up there. What is the best medley with Death on 2 Legs? Again, very tough. News of the World ones are wonderful because you have, you have too much Chardonnay Mountain Dew, I'm sorry. You have Death on 2 Legs, you have Killer Queen, Millionaire Waltz, I'm in Love with My Car, and Get Down, Make Love. You have that awesome medley, and I realize I just messed up the order there. Though those are nice medleys. That's a good medley. I like the medley from the Crazy tour and Jazz tour ones. Let's see. The medleys from 80 are wonderful because Freddie would nail Death on 2 Legs on pretty much every gig. Killer Queen would be obnoxiously oversung, hits random G's, A's, and actually touches B4s on like 3 gigs. And then I'm in Love with My Car. Roger aces it mostly. And then Get Down, Make Love was performed well. I have to say the best medley with that song Death on 2 Legs. I would say News of the World ones, such as Stockholm and Copenhagen, would probably be up in the best ones. Because News of the World tour is one of my favorite tours. It seems to be a popular favorite tour among most of my peers. Death on 2 Legs was sung well on every gig. Killer Queen, very creative on all gigs, not obnoxious for the most part. Freddie would sing I'm in Love with My Car, the chorus part along with Roger, and sing that well. I actually hit B4s. And Millionaire Waltz and Get Down, Make Love were sung well. And for 78, Stockholm and Copenhagen are your best ones, in my opinion. Crazy tour ones, Hammersmith and the first Newcastle are probably the best ones there. 81, the ones from 1980, the Death on 2 Legs there in terms of the medley version would probably be the best ones there, but the Killer Queens are a little bit too over the top for my taste, where just probably just oversing the shit and just hit random notes that don't belong in the song. But I have to say the first Wembley from 80 is a very, very, very good version. Probably the best one overall on the tour. And then Oakland will probably tie that or be on par with that. So those 2 I would rank very highly because they're not overly obnoxious and they're fairly balanced and they're sung very well. So I'll say that the 78 ones and then the 80 ones and the Crazy Tour ones are your top ones. Let's see. Good questions. RC. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I can't even. I gotta read this. RHCP6131. Red Hot Chili Peppers. Good band. Flea's awesome. And my favorite Australian subscriber too. Hello, Nick. He's got some great questions. We're gonna answer them. What is Freddie's worst performance of any song ever? You know, some stuff from 5-1, like Sheer Heart Attack, or Sheer Note Attack, Get Down No Tone, Bohemian Rhapsody from like 423 and 428, 430 are up there. Somebody to Fail from 5-1 also goes up there. Let's see, other really bad ones I can get a nomination. Some stuff from the Works tour, like another one, Bites the Fail, from like Vienna and 9-7, or oh my god. Ugh. That's all I could say. And I Want to Break Key and I Want to Break Voice from like 9-5, 9-7, 9-10, 9-21, 9-29, 9-30. All are bad. So yeah, those will go up there as the worst ones. Tear It Up from 9-2 is one of the worst vocals ever, with random notes everywhere. So there's some nominees for Freddie's worst performance. And also you can add some stuff from Himeji and Fukuoka. Like In the Lap of the Gods Revisited from Himeji is probably one of the worst performances of the mid-70s he's done. So you can add those in there too. So yeah, that'll give you a pretty good idea. Let's see. Why is Freddie's voice so much worse at the second Rock in Rio show? Partying, my Australian friend. Freddie Mercury loved to party. Loved to drink I mean, he was not an addict. He wasn't addicted to really anything. He was just a partier and was a very recreational user of like alcohol, vodka, champagne, wine, cocaine. You know, obviously he was smoking cigarettes, as we could see on like all of his interviews from like 1980 onwards. But why his voice was weaker there than the other one? Partying, not taking care of his voice in between the shows, not singing in between the shows too, because if you don't exercise that vocal muscle, you know, it'll weaken. So it's a combination of, you know, mistreating the voice and not singing will be your deciding factors on why his voice is weaker there. He tried though, so we'll give him points. What is the best performance from Wembley's second night? Let's see here. Yes, he was rough at the second night compared to the first night. Yes, he was barking and shouting on some songs, but, you know, at least he tries, and at least he doesn't sound like complete crap like some of the Works tour stuff. But I have to say his best performance on the second night is Another One Bites the Dust. Because despite his voice not being in the best shape, he is able to sing it very effectively. He actually hits some very good B4s. And the band do a good improv, and he overall does a good version of that song despite his voice not being in the best shape. Also, I'll say Dust is probably his best performance on that show. And let's see, question: are you sure that the Glasgow C5 and bow wrap is real? It doesn't exist. Oh, okay, I'll elaborate a bit. Basically, the Glasgow bow wrap, it was often said that Freddie hit the C5, like the Newcastle one a few days later. But after careful analysis with multiple people, with some high-tech headphones and some people with good studio equipment and good ears, we have determined, and we means me, my friend Adam, which is formulaonemad, TSS Killer 08 from New York, Richard from Canada, and Mr. Clemains, Mr. The Biggest Queen Fan from California. We have, and actually Seppi Roth, in a way, also helped out. We determined that the C5 was from the crowd, and Freddie Mercury did the amended A-flat 4 kind of a phrasing. But it fooled me for quite a while, and it took TSS Killer to show us that he didn't hit that. So no, he did not hit the C5. It's not real because he didn't hit it. Still a strong version of the song, though. Next question. Good questions. Some of the best ones. Randy Jacksonable asks this question. Did Freddie ever dye his mustache? No. Not that I'm aware of, though. Was eating Cheetos ever a problem for... Was eating Cheetos a problem for his mustache? I don't think so. I mean, in all the interviews and concerts I've seen, I've never seen bits of Cheeto or anything in his mustache. So maybe he vacuumed it out, maybe he brushed it out before, but I don't think it was a problem. Let's see, how about drinking delicious eggnog? Was that a problem for him? Most likely not. I mean, if he did accidentally get on his mustache, he'd just wipe it off, and there you go. Thanks, dog. Thank you, dog. Wonderful questions. Okay. Oh my God, these are probably the hardest and probably some of the best questions I've had. And I accidentally put the fourth one on this page, but we will go off this. Mr. Bite That Dust, I think. I'm sorry if you're female. I don't know some of the genders here on some of the users, but Bite the Dust. Bite That Dust. Asked this very, very good question that actually will take lots of thinking for me. Most non-Queen fans don't seem to notice Freddie's slightly shouty voice during the second Wembley 86 gig. If Freddie had his Wembley 86 voice for Live Aid, do you think his performance would have been as well received, or would the public have pointed out his tired voice? I gotta drink to that so I can think. I'm thinking, don't worry. Actually, now I can't think now. No. Alright. You know, actually, that's actually a very difficult question because when I see stuff about Live Aid, you know, Freddie Mercury's often mentioned in Live Aid's Queen performances, you know, oh, awesome stage performance against the crowd, you know, clapping in union and doing all the hand signals for Radio Gaga, everyone's singing along with this song, all the songs and stuff. But, and his voice gets mentioned as being in pristine shape, nailing champions, nailing Gaga and everything. You know, actually, I would think that if he actually did have a weaker voice, let's say his weaker Magic voice, like the second Wembley or something, I think actually his Live Aid performance would be documented just as well in terms of the performance is of his stage persona and his musical in the crowd. I think the public would pick up on the voice and say that Freddie actually would sound a bit tired if he was ill or sick or something. So in a way, I would think that performance would actually be reviewed a bit differently. I mean, it'll still be rated high, but, you know, I think it'll be maybe slipped down a notch or two. But I think it'll still maybe be the top performance at Live Aid because, you know, the whole crowd was into it and everything. But yes, I would think that if Freddie had a weaker voice at Live Aid, the public would notice this because most people who attended the Queen shows were Queen fans, and Live Aid was mostly, you know, a big public gathering. A lot of people weren't fans of the band or were casual music listeners or something. So I think Live Aid, they would pick up on his weaker voice there because it's mostly an all-around music, you know, fans. They're not just strictly Queen fans. So I would agree that the public would point out his tired voice, and I would agree that his vocal performances would not have been as well received, but I would think his stage persona and the crowd participation would be most likely unaffected. So I would agree on both of your questions. Let's see. What songs do you think benefited from the addition of keyboards post 1981? And what songs do you think keyboards would sound worse on songs? I think Crazy Little Thing Called Love sounded awesome with the additional piano. I think that added a lot to the song. And that actually, if it worked, I actually would say if it wasn't for the piano, I would think those jams would not have happened. If it weren't for Fred Mandel playing the piano, if it weren't for Spike Edney playing the piano on his versions, we would not have those awesome jams. Crazy Little Thing Called Love works wonders as a 5-piece. And what I can say is songs that do not work with additional keyboards, Tear It Up and Tie Your Mother Down from the Works Tour. My God. I do not want to hear Teletubbies sounding synthesizers on Tear It Up. Go to 5/11/85's official release for that horrible mix. I don't want to hear these little childish synthesizers, you know, and Brian's guitar being turned all the way down and the keyboards all the way up. Doesn't sound right. Hard rocking songs such as Tear It Up, Tie Your Mother Down. Let's see, what's another hard rocking? We Will Rock You would not work well with keyboards like that. Now I'm Here won't work with keyboards either. So basically, I think songs with more of a harder edge to them that originally did not have synths or keyboards on them would not work as well live. But songs like Crazy Little Thing Called Love and, you know, Back Chat would work wonders with the keys, as we can hear on the bootlegs, because they were originally, well, for Back Chat they were originally on the song, but, you know, Morgan Fisher and Fred Mandel in particular added lots of great, you know, additions to that song. So I would think that Hot Space songs would sound wonderful with additional keyboards and stuff like that live. Harder rocking songs would not. Alright, Freddie. Okay. Question 3 from Bite That Dust. Freddie clearly struggled singing I Want to Break Free live. Why do you think they didn't just transpose it down a key or two? Was it because of Fred's ego? Well, what I can say is, for I Want to Break Free, I do agree that there are a lot of versions. At least about 2/3 to about maybe 3/4 of the versions I've heard, Freddie would have some sort of trouble with that song live. Like, in terms of either you would miss, you know, notes either in the verses, or would, on the most part, would shout or bark, especially on his weaker Magic gigs or so, or the weaker Works gigs where he'd just be all over the place. But there are some gem versions that need to be mentioned to prove that Freddie has done that song, you know, well live. First, Brussels on the Works tour, wonderful. Closest to the studio, Fred doesn't shout or bark and actually was able to hit the verses very solidly. The first Birmingham is great. There's some decent ones from later on that tour, like Stuttgart. Stuttgart is nice. The Berlin one, he does struggle a little bit, but overall he does a fairly decent job. All the other ones he clearly has some trouble with, or completely fails, like 9/5 and Paris, like I Want to Break Key and stuff. Second Brussels is probably the worst one ever, if not top 3 worst. Nagoya 85 is one of the best versions because Fred doesn't struggle with it too much and actually hits that B4 in the bridge, like the "Oh, how I want to break free," that part. He does that very well. Some Magic Tour versions are up there as being very good. Second Leiden is great. Let's see, another good one. Actually, all the Leiden ones are great. Let's see, Mannheim is pretty good. Later ones are a little bit barked out, like the Wembleys, the Newcastle one. Manchester is good. So there's some versions where Freddie does do a good job, but for the most part, I agree that song, Freddie does have trouble on it in some way, shape, or form. Why I think they didn't transpose it is because I don't think that song works or sounds right in a different key. I mean, I know tuning it down would make it easier, and Freddie would sing it better in the lower key because the way Fred's nodules were on his throat and his whole live technique, the A flats, or if we're gonna go by the technical key, the G sharps would, you know, be right on that bridge of his chest and mixed voice, and he would just belt these out in chest, which won't help if you have like vocal nodules all over your throat. So they're right at the top of his, like, you know, his like chest voice, his natural chest range. So I think they didn't transpose it because it wouldn't sound right. And Fred's ego, I don't think it was an ego thing, to be honest, because there are songs he did transpose down live. You know, from like the Hero was transposed down, you know, for obvious reasons, because on Essen it was like all over the place, really funny. Friends Will Be Friends was performed a whole step down. Let's see, Body Language was half a step down. Let's see, Who Wants to Live Forever was a whole step down. So there are songs where he did tune down to be able to sing those a little bit more effectively, a little bit easier, because those are very hard songs to sing. especially if they're either in the mid parts or end parts of a gig. So I don't think it was an ego issue. I think it was just depending on the song and the key and everything. Okay, we're on the final page. We're almost done with the video. Give it another hour. Okay, last question from Mr. Bite That Dust, or Mrs. Was it a good or bad idea not to play Princes of the Universe live? I will actually stay neutral on this because, in a way, I would like to have seen the song played live regardless of how it would turn out. But in a way, it's very difficult to replicate, the harmonies and all this overdubbing stuff on some songs. And plus, you have the Highlander voiceovers in that song that kind of like go along with the song. But then again, they did that with the Flash opener. But the song worked, at least in my opinion. Maybe they could have opened up the show, but again, One Vision's an excellent opener, so I don't know what that song sounded like live, but I can tell you that Freddie would have to modify that vocal in some way, shape, or form. But I think the reason why it wasn't played on the Magic Tour was because that song was not released in Europe as a single. It was an American. I think it was released in America, and I think couple other territories. But I think it wasn't played live strictly because it wasn't released as a single, and not many people would probably dig the song or not be too familiar. They wanted to stick to a safe hits kind of a set list. So I will say that I'm neutral on that. I want to see both sides of it. Now, the questions I asked were, or I should say I answered, were written on my channel and my emails and stuff. And normally that's where I would end the video, but as a bonus, I will help answer some questions that were asked on the Queen Zone about the Works debate and Works tour. And again, we will meet, and then the other participants on the debate that will be up in a relatively short period of time. We answered these, we tried to do our best, but I will answer them one-on-one just in case we weren't clear or if I have a change of heart or something. So I'll help you out, or at least I'll try to. Rubber Suit mentioned this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Works tour was the first to have the improvisation segment, or the impromptu, maybe discussion about how it evolved on the tour. Well, technically, in terms of the improvs, it was 75, but if you're talking the impromptu with the whole piano and the vocal improv with the falsetto, you are correct. I adore the impromptus from both the Works and the Magic Tour. I think Freddie is extremely creative with what he hits, and despite, even on his worst gigs, Vienna, 84, London, and stuff, I think he does a commendable performance. I think he uses his falsetto to the best of his ability. How it evolved over the tour, I think in a strange way, I think actually his weakening voice had something to do with it, because on his average to weaker gigs, he tends to use a lot more of his falsetto and do a little bit more creativity in the higher fifth octave to kind of make up for it, because his full voice was shot pretty much. Like for example, on 9/7 and Dortmund and Milan and stuff, where he has Milan he's actually in pretty good shape, but on his weaker gigs he would do A5 falsettos, 6th octave stuff, C6 and D6s on Dortmund. I think he did that in the Dragon Attack improv, though. I'm probably wrong on that, though, but all I know is that the impromptu was wonderful, and I think it evolved over the tour due to Freddie's fluctuating voice. But my personal favorite impromptu has to be the Japan Tokyo 591, where Freddie is all over crazy and hits D6s and stuff. So I think it evolved by his vocal shape. He knew that his voice was shot, so he tried to make up with his register that did work, his falsetto, and he did a very commendable job with that. And and let's see. This is more of a statement, but I'll answer this for Mr. Rubber Suit. Also, I remember reading in the Queen Works book that on the first night in New Zealand, Fred and the guy from Spandau Ballet, Tony Hadley, got really drunk and they screwed up the rock and roll medley. I'd love to hear a clip of that if you have in your archives. Well, If I had that gig, I would show it to everyone and put it in a blooper video. There's rumors of this existing in like archives and stuff. Not my archives. I don't know, but I don't have it personally. But I would love to talk about it if I can. But what I can tell you is that Tony Hadley and Freddie Mercury got plastered before the show, drinking vodka and everything. And then Freddie got on stage, pretty much wasted, was fucking up the lyrics on songs. I'm going off what I've been seeing on Queen Live CA and the fan stories. He was fucking around on some songs, messing up the lyrics. And then from an interview with Spike Edney on New Zealand radio, Fred sobered up pretty well towards the end of the show around the rock and roll medley, but Tony Hadley continued to drink, and he was going to come on stage for the Jailhouse Rock part, and he was asking Spike Edney in the back, and I'm going off this radio thing I heard from Spike Edney, so I'll if you guys are interested, I will share that either on my channel or send it in a media fire. But what Spike Edney said was Tony Hadley kept asking for the lyrics for Jailhouse Rock backstage, and then when he got out on the stage, Tony Hadley was forgot all the words and mumbled them and started singing bits and pieces of Tutti Frutti, which worked wonderfully. If I had the audio, I think that would be one of the best things ever. So that's all I can say because I don't have the audio or the video. Also, Dive 2063 from Queen Zone said this. Oh, a big question. What happened to Freddie's voice during the Works tour, especially on the European part? I mean, all those rise and falls while the tour progressed. What was the main cause of this? Especially because I don't believe that this was only caused by smoking and age. Would be great to hear the answer from professional singers. Thanks in advance, Greg. Well, what I can say is I am not a professional singer by any means. I am very terrible. But I will do my best to answer this for you. What happened on this Works tour is Peter Freestone mentioned on the Hot Space debate that Freddie did not tour, or did not tour, obviously from the late Hot Space tour into, 83 or anything. So he was kind of out of, touring vocal shape where he didn't have, the tour endurance, to hold up show after show. The smoking and his off-stage habits such as partying, drinking vodka, cocaine, and the smoking had some sort of a factor on it where he would, he doesn't have the stamina to last either a whole show or in between shows. But I believe the main cause of his rise and fall was crammed tour dates, and Freddie was dangerously belting in pure chest up to A4, B flats, and combining with, the lack of tour stamina from, not touring and the smoking, that caused his voice to go downhill after a couple gigs. And I think the reason why it risen and fallen over the whole tour was, the lack of rest between gigs, the touring stamina was messed up. Like, for example, from Dortmund to Milan, there was only it was a couple days in between, so he sounded pretty good on the Milan ones. The Munich and Paris, where big dive downwards, sounded rougher, was making wrong note choices, the stamina was messed up. The Stuttgart and Frankfurt and Berlin ones, he recovered, a little bit on the Berlin and recovered well on Stuttgart. Because I think he actually started to pay attention a bit to his voice a little bit there. But then he threw that all out the window by Vienna and he sounded awful. And so I think it was because of, the lack of vocal touring stamina, and his offstage partying was kind of fucking up his voice on the tour, especially his stamina. Let's see. What songs... Let's see. Must be another thing for discussion. What songs worked best musically on the Works tour, and what songs didn't work so much? And also be likely to hear the thoughts about the songs from other tours that were dropped. What must be kept in the Works tour for a beauty show? Well, what I can say is was not too fond of Tear It Up on this tour. Well, actually, wait. Musically it was good, vocally it wasn't. I'm trying to think musically here. I don't think the songs with electronic drums worked on this tour well. Dust was not well at all musically. I don't like electronic drums on Hammer to Fall, where it sounds like this big heavy guitars and then you hear da-na-na-na, ding. Doesn't sound right. So like songs with electronic drums or electronic drum parts either didn't work well live or didn't sound right in some parts. Songs that did work well live, I like Dragon Attack on this tour, especially the 85 ones. Into Hard Life I think worked well live, despite some of the electronic drum parts. Musically as well. The Impromptu, wonderful. I got no complaints about the Impromptu. Let's see here. Another song that worked well in terms of the musical. Let's see. I like the Machines intro. I think that built up the show awesomely. I think Freddie did a commendable job on the vocals that we didn't hear on those shows. God Save the Queen worked musically live. I actually like the harder rock versions of. I like Hammer to Fall on musically live. I just don't like the drums, like the electronic drums. I Want to Break Free musically it worked live, vocally, depending on the gig. But so basically those are some of the songs that worked well and what didn't work well live in terms of the musical performance. And the second part of the question also would be likely to hear the thoughts about the songs from other tours that were dropped or were kept on the Works tour. Well, songs that were revived for this tour. I was not fond of the Killer Queen on most gigs because Freddie his tone was just, he was trying too hard to sound different, too deep. Some signs of the cigarette use were in effect where he was dropping to the third octave, trying to sound like a cigaretted Italian Pavarotti baritone. Did not sound well at all. Don't like over singing on like that song or Liar when you can't barely sing it or anything. Keep Yourself Alive. Let's see here. Keep Yourself Alive didn't work too well because those freaking drums and Freddie's tone would be shot by like the end parts of that tour. Let's see, songs that were dropped and revived for this tour. Let's see, I think Stone Cold Crazy was actually pretty good on this tour. I mean, on the gigs where his vocal was really good, I think it worked well live. I love the heavy sound. Great King Rat, I think that sounded fine, especially the second Vienna 84 one, which I think is the greatest version of all time. So basically those kind of songs I think, in a way worked well. Let's see here. Any more questions? No! I ran out of questions. So, you guys, assuming that you've made it through the whole video, which is over an hour by this point, if you guys made it through this whole video without stopping or canceling it, I give you all the praise in the world, and write your gig requests down on either the video or the channel comments, and I'll do my best to honor them. Because I got a list of stuff I got to get uploaded from like the Magic Tour, some Hot Space and work stuff. So thank you guys for watching this video, and I will catch you guys later.